It's gonna be live for us. What is up, Broncos country? I'm your host Dak. Joining me today is Jazz. I am glad that you are here with us, rocking and rolling. The draft day pressure is on in Denver. Outside of acquiring any, geez, Jalen Waddle, it's been pretty quiet, right? That was the lone splash that we've had all off season. We
Yeah,
didn't spend big in free agency. So it feels like going into this draft. We're what, a few days away, a couple weeks away. I feel like we have to hit on this draft. No first round pick, really no splash signings. The margin for error is slim.
very slim.
Man, I'm a little nervous about this. I was doing my due diligence on some of these selections. And today, for the viewers, please like, share, and subscribe. But we're gonna go through. There was two drafts where we didn't have a first round pick. We're gonna talk about some of those draft selections that we had for those particular seasons. This isn't anything new to Denver. Um, but what's the biggest need that you feel going into this draft for the Denver Broncos as we head into the draft?
Man, Dak, that's such a good question. But I'm going to say I'm still not too, I don't feel good about the inside linebacker position still. There's something about that just still feels incomplete. And so, to your point, with us not having a first round pick, and I just feel like we have to be very strategic about how we're approaching the draft. And so, I would like to say that we're going to get an inside linebacker in this upcoming draft, but you just don't know.
Right.
But for me, that is the position where I still have some question marks.
No, I like that. Spot on. Inside linebackers at the top of my list. I'm not really sold on the depth that we have. We have Lavelle Bailey, who did pretty well in preseason, right? But after that, like, he was a big name, and then what? He disappeared. We have
Yeah.
other guys that were on practice squad, like Jordan Turner, Karene Reed, who was undrafted. Both of those guys.
Hmm.
But if an injury happens to Alex Singleton or Justin Strnad, you're kind of worried, right? I know
Yeah.
the Broncos were looking to move, well, not move a complete positional shift, but give Jonah Ellis some snaps, which I'm kind of a little hesitant about that. Past
Yeah.
failed experiments, but damn, man, I'm looking at these. I'm anxious, so I would say inside linebacker, tight end, because that room, the production out of that room was abysmal. Maybe
Yeah.
utilization out of Evan Ingram, but we still need some guys like that true Y that can run black, but also be a pass catching threat, so that
Yeah.
way we don't tip our hand to the defenses. And then
No,
the
that's a good point.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, so true. And I just I'm still not really understanding why we approached free agency the way that we did, but I'm hoping, Dak, that when the season starts, we feel like we're in a better spot. I just
Right.
again, it's just like to your point, we make the one big splash. Before that, it was quiet. After that, it's still quiet, and it's almost like they're kind of going like the route of continuity, which is really good. Like you want that continuity. You
Mm-hmm.
believe in your guys. You want them to continue to grow and play together. But I feel like we're so close to being Super Bowl bound that I would have liked to see a couple more splash plays, or moves in free agency, but hey,
Yeah.
what do I know?
No, for sure. It's easy, I guess, to be the couch GM at times, right? But I would say too, like the running back position, I'm a little hesitant.
Mhm.
I know they made it a priority. They talked about bringing J.K. Dobbins back. They talked about him, being what, a top five running back through week 10 in the NFL in terms of production, but the availability is still a question mark. So I'm
Yeah,
a little hesitant about that, right? So you need your insurance policy in this draft. So at 62, it's like, do you get inside linebacker? Do you get the tight end, or do you get a running back? Hey, maybe they look at somebody, drafting offensive tackle depth, right? We've really done our due diligence in terms of those, bringing in players for meetings, you know,
mhm,
and then defensive line was another one. Those are
Yeah,
some that I have here, but I'm like, man, either way, it has to hit, right? It has to be
yeah,
an impact player. What I would say to you, because I want to run through some names that we drafted real quick. 2022 draft. This was the first one. No first rounder. After the Russell Wilson trade,
yeah.
Nick Bonito, bang banger. He just got an extension worth up to 120 million, but a base of 106 million. Right? Sounds like incentivized, legitimate, elite player,
Yep,
elite elite talent in terms of a pass rusher in the NFL.
yep.
But we got him at pick 64. So Denver is no, they're not. This isn't new to them, right? Um,
Yeah,
after that we had Greg Dulcich, not on the team. Damari
mm,
Mathis, not on the team. We
right.
have we have Ioma Uwazurike, depth, solid depth though, right?
Yeah,
It's
that's
after the
solid
cap.
there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he's improved.
Yes.
After that, Delaren Turner who was on the practice squad,
Mhm.
had injuries. Question, right?
Yeah,
That's a big question mark. Montreal Washington, who was a guy that I think a lot of fans were excited for. I think if I'm not mistaken, gone. He was with the Chiefs at one point. I don't
yeah,
even know about that.
right.
Your favorite, Luke Wattenberg? I know he's not my favorite. I'm just kidding.
Get out of here.
Luke
Oops.
Wattenberg got a
Yeah,
4-year extension. He's going to be here for a while.
yeah, he's gonna be here.
And then you have Matt Henningsen, who's on the practice squad. And then we had drafted Fione Hicks in the seventh with pick 232, gone. So
I can
just for that one, what do
I can tell you
you?
right now, if we dropped again like that, we are in just hell. That is draft hell to me. Like the Nick Bonito is great, but like, man,
Yikes!
we need to hit a lot more than that draft that you just, the folks that you
That I
just
just
named.
went through. Yeah. So that was 2022. Okay, and I'm glad you
Mhm.
said that. 2023. Hold your breath. Hold my beer, as you wish. Marvin Mims, who's in a contract here. I think his role's gone down. It'll go down, I think, as we traded for Jalen Waddle.
Yep.
Drew Sanders hasn't
Yep.
found a way to get on the field. Injuries.
Yeah. Injuries.
They did the whole experiment. We just talked about Jonah Alice, but they did the experiment of switching Drew Sanders to edge. Now back to inside linebacker.
Yeah.
Like, so he's athletic. He was out of Arkansas, third round selection, pick 67.
Yeah.
Hasn't panned out as of yet. Hopefully it
Not
does maybe
yet.
this year, but don't hold your
Right.
breath. Round three was Riley Moss, who I think we ended up trading up for, I think, in the draft. He's in a contract year, I think.
I think that that's a hit.
That's a hit for sure. So I like that. He had some solid. He's been really solid. He was one of the most targeted cornerbacks in the league.
Of
19
course.
pass deflections, 80 total tackles, one
Yeah.
sack. I mean, he was legit, right? Like, let's call it what it is.
He didn't have a lot of touchdowns scored on him though.
Right, right. He did
How
really
many
well.
for last season? I mean, he got picked on a lot, and I definitely have my fair share of criticism as
Right.
well. But he was pretty legit, and I think that he has a lot of room to grow. And it's not easy playing opposite of Patrick Surtain, so it just kind of it is what it is. But I would say that's a hit.
I like that. It was a hit, I feel too. It'll be interesting, now with Marvin Mims in a contract year and Riley Moss, do we
Yeah,
have to make a selection out of the two? I don't know. We don't have that much money going around. I know we're Walmart.
yeah.
We got the
I would
owner
like
of
to bring them
Walmart.
both. I would like to pay them both.
Okay.
I like the role that Marvin Mims plays.
Okay.
I like that he's our gadget guy, and I think Riley is he's legit.
Okay. That's fair. And for me, I would look otherwise elsewhere for maybe another returner in this draft. There's a
Mm,
guy out of Oregon, Malik Benson, who could provide putt returner, kick returner. But that's a discussion for another day. But I don't know. I mean, we gotta decide. Eventually who we pay if we do bring back any of them. It'll be interesting.
yeah.
J.L. Skinner, special teams and safety depth. Maybe he'll get his
Mhm.
time to shine now. He was drafted in the sixth round to pick 183. Um, now with PJ Lock gone, maybe he gets his time to shine in a competition, maybe with Tyson Anderson, who we signed. That was our only free agent signing outside of the
Yeah,
Broncos, outside of
I
the
know.
organization.
So
Um,
weird.
it's great. It's been a weird off season, right? We don't have a lot to hang our
Very.
hat on right now. Um, and yeah, he would compete with Devin Key, of course, our special teams ace, who was an All Pro, and then Alex Forsyth, center depth. I think I've liked when his name's been called. He's been good, right?
I think that is a hit, especially at that position and the way that he's been able to come in and like fit into like, in different areas. I
Yeah.
like Alex Forsyth. And I think that again, the continuity, I believe he played with Bo in Oregon as well. I
Absolutely.
think that is going to come and be very, very beneficial in the future. But yeah, I like him.
The next question mark is Nick Gargiulio. I think I said it right.
I like
Not,
him.
I'm sorry.
Mhm. Before
Suffered
he
a
got,
season-ender injury,
mhm.
but
He
he
was
was.
showing promise.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I think he. I think I would like to have looked at him as a potential replacement for Ben Powers. That didn't come
Yep.
into fruition because of the injury, right? I think a lot of people are like, "Oh boy."
I know. But yeah, so far, I'm liking that draft.
Okay, okay. So yeah, that was that was the 2 years we didn't have first round picks. Now
Mhm.
we traded our first round pick, and I mean, this is a draft that's not very not highly touted right across the league. I think a lot of teams wouldn't mind trading, you know, for known commodities like we did. We traded for Jalen Waddle. We traded our first. In return, we also traded a third, of course, but in return we got their fourth. And Jalen Waddle, like you can't beat that. You're getting somebody who at pick 30. Who are we really getting to have that type of impact, right? If anything. So,
Yeah, I agree. A
but
lot of
now,
people are upset that we don't have a first round pick, but I'm with you, Dak. I feel that there's nobody in the draft that's going to have immediate impact, in my opinion, than like Jalen Waddle. And you know what, guys? Here's what I will say. We do have our team. We have our quarterback. And so, yes, it sucks that we don't have a first round pick, but we literally just won 14 games. And so, usually the mindset is it's when you win 14 games, there's not a lot of things or there's not a lot of replacements that you have to make. Um, I know that a lot of us feel like, hey, we barely, made it by. And I'm one of those people as well. But that's just going to be the mindset of the team. Like,
mhm,
we did this with barely no talent, add a few more pieces, and we'll be good to go, and I think that's how they're thinking about, this
that's it.
upcoming season.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you on that for sure. So pick 62, you got to make sure that hits, and then we got 108, 111, so two fourths. We got a fifth round 170 and three sevenths 246,
Yep.
256, 257.
Yeah.
I would ask you, those are what, seven draft picks? I think if we came out with at least four legitimate players, I'd be very happy with this draft. Honestly, what do you think?
All we need is 3.
Boom. Okay.
To your point with, this you said the 62nd pick overall?
Mm-hmm. 2 second. Yeah.
Um, that we have to hit. So, if we wanna just go to last year's draft, our first round pick was Jahdae Barron. I'm still kind of like I'm not really sure how I feel about that yet. It has to
Yeah.
pan out. But because we don't have that much wiggle room and we're not picking until so late, we
I know.
have to hit. So whatever they do, it better be dang on good, right? But to your
Right.
point, if we can hit on 3, 4 of those picks, I would call that a success because again, we already have our team. They signed a lot of the guys, and they're coming back this upcoming season. So again, they do believe that they have the pieces that they need.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair. Oh, I'm holding my breath, but it's like there's players and we. I mean, these are the selections right now, but George Payton likes to move around the board, front, side to
Mhm.
side, back, whatever. All over the damn place. He's all over. Sean Payton as well, right? Um,
Mhm.
so man. if there's a player they like, I would say, hey, trade up maybe. Be aggressive to an extent. I know they talked about potentially trading up. I don't think they're trading up in the first round, like some people think. I think it's like, they'll be
Who thinks
calculated.
that? Is
There's
that
some
what
folks that,
the
there's some folks that legitimately think that we
bro,
would try to get
it's
back.
not happening. That
That's
there's no
expensive.
yeah.
Next year's draft is like they don't really want to touch that draft capital, it sounds like, right? Because
Good.
that draft is much better than what this draft is.
Right.
So you don't
Mhm.
mess with that. And I agree with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
But give me your inside linebacker, give me a running back, or give me a tight end out of those picks, and maybe some tackle depth.
Hmm.
I'd be happy. Because you need to at least have something cost effective behind McGlinchey, Garrett Bowles eventually for the long haul. And then you got Ben Powers, that's going to be gone and free agent after this year. So
Right.
I think I hopefully something like that pans out. I'm holding my breath, but man, we got to hit the. I feel the pressure. Maybe they don't, but I feel pressure, man. Not to mention, do we add a safety? What do you think? It's
Um,
like,
I don't I don't I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe, I mean, the depth would be good, but I know one thing that will piss me off. If we get a running back at that 62nd pick, I wouldn't be, like, super excited about that. So, I
Oh,
do think we'll take I do think that, J.K. Dobbins is gonna play full season.
ooh,
Um, I do feel that he is coming with a chip on his shoulder, trying to prove Broncos country wrong. When we brought him back, a lot of us were upset. So I really do think that I think that we'll be okay, in the running back room.
hmm
But I really would like to see again inside linebacker, whoever is the most talented or whoever would be the best fit for the Broncos. I would like for us to go after that person and be
yeah.
aggressive and get them. Yeah. I mean, it's not sexy to go after inside linebacker in the draft, but it's definitely needed.
Well, it's sexy to me, man, because especially if you get Jacob Rodriguez and you got that
Yeah.
stat, that's a hot commodity. No, I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, I feel like we need to get an inside linebacker because I feel like that would be very impactful in terms of rotational. You saw
Mhm,
Drake Greenlaw; he was in a rotation with
mhm.
Justin Shernatt, Alex Singleton. He's not there anymore. I think the expectation for the rookie coming in is not to so much to replace Drake Greenlaw, but it's gonna have to have he's that running that excuse me that inside linebacker is gonna have to have some level of impact. Whether that's being instinctive, attacking the gaps, running sideline to sideline, forcing turnovers,
Yeah.
being maybe that three-level inside linebacker, three down inside linebacker. We need somebody that can cover and have solid pass coverage because we can't have a weak link. I think for the long term, we need somebody of that caliber.
That's what I'm saying, Dak, and so if we're talking about being an elite defense, that is something that we're gonna have to fill that hole, and it's been in my opinion, it's been a hole for a while now, and
Mhm.
we've just sort of the Band-Aid approach. We really do need to put, a solid dog in that position, so I agree with your thoughts there,
Yeah.
but yeah, like it's so interesting because we don't know what they're gonna do, but I do
Right.
have a good feeling that we'll go after inside linebacker for our first pick.
Yeah. So, being with that said, real quick, uh,
Mhm.
are there any free agents that you would say, hey, I could see the Broncos visiting them, having them coming into Denver if they didn't hit on, whatever targets they had on their board? Are there is there anyone that sticks out to you in the free agent pool that you're like, man, they should have signed him? Maybe they haven't because they're waiting on the draft.
Man, Dak, I'm not gonna lie, it's been so boring for Broncos country. I don't even know who free agents anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
being
been
dead
pretty
serious.
good enough for them, sure.
I kinda just checked out because,
Okay.
after like, before Jalen Waddle has been, like, freaking crickets, so I don't know who's available anymore.
No, it's definitely slim pickings, but hey, Najoku, it's so interesting that he's still on the market. He hasn't been signed.
Interesting.
That is very interesting. From what I've heard, it's like he wants a certain dollar amount. He holds
Uh,
himself in high regard versus what his market actually is.
yeah.
Maybe down the line, maybe he, gets, just decides, hey, I'm going to just sign here. Maybe I get an opportunity to sign in Denver, win. I don't know. That's something to think about.
Like, how's he as a blocker?
He's a lot better than Adam Troutman. I could tell you that right now.
In what in Evan Ingram?
Better than Evan Ingram, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Um,
lost a little bit of a step in terms of blocking, but not like drastically, right? Like I think, I don't know. I feel like he'd
yeah.
be an upgrade to this room in terms of,
I wouldn't mind, him, Njoku. I've always been, interested in him. I didn't know that he was still available. That's crazy, but
so crazy.
maybe he'll lower his dollar, amount, since, um, it sounds like this is a very humbling kind of
Experience for him,
experience.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, so, he may come down on that, but, no, he's a good name. Who else is like
Cam Jordan. He used to play with
oh,
Sean Payton, 10 and a half sacks last year. He's 37, but in rotation, he wouldn't have to be the guy. But hey, still productive, and he could bring along these young, talented guys that we have in the room, like, say, Savion Jones, who we drafted last year that didn't really see the field. He was listed as inactive for a lot of the year, except for maybe one game he played, which I think he got a sack in. But yeah,
yeah, um I would be okay with that, and the only reason I say that is because, he is a Sean Payton guy, and so he already knows the way that, like, Coach Sean likes to play. Um, he is a little bit up there in age,
mhm.
so I would be
That's fair.
like,
No, and that's fair. But hey,
yeah,
he rides off into the sunset. Hey, you know what I
sure.
mean? Why not? He'd be cheap. I would imagine he'd be cheap. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. I'm not a cap guru. I don't know what his real asking price is, but
This
he's
feels
still on
so
the
good.
market.
We
Yeah.
good.
One more
Are we
guy, I would tell you. One more.
yeah.
Bobby Wagner is still a free agent. No. Okay. No, that's fair.
I'm not a
That's
Bob
fair.
I am not a Bobby Wagner fan.
Oh,
It
okay.
kinda all started with that whole, Russell Wilson fiasco years ago.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm
Yeah.
not really I don't like how I don't like his attitude. That's just a little personal.
No, that's
And, obviously he's older, he's lost a step. He's not who he used to be, obviously, but he's still solid. I'm assuming I haven't really kept up with him in the
no.
past year. But it's a no for me. I
Okay.
just feel like, he would be more so, because he's such a big name. I don't know how much he would expect, like,
You feel
in
like
regards
he's more
to
of like a
compensation.
name at this time versus what he would be in terms of
Sure
production.
name, like, his production, like, I don't know if his name is going to match, like, the production that we would wanna see, but
Okay,
it's, you
and
know
that's fair.
Mhm.
One more name, Bobby Okikarik. He was a captain with the Giants, middle inside linebacker. He struggled last year, I think, a lot against the run.
Mm,
But in previous seasons, he was pretty solid. Somebody I would see. He's still on the market too. Surprisingly, I definitely would look his direction. Maybe we sign him, maybe we won't. But I don't know. Either way, I think we can probably play the whole game of like J.K. Dobbins, like how we waited after the draft and brought him in. I could see a scenario of some of these veterans. Maybe there's another guy that we haven't brought up that we look
yeah,
at, right? So I don't
yeah.
know. It's interesting. But thank you so much for joining me today. This was a good discussion. I'm nervous as can be about this draft. Maybe
I'm waiting. I'm just so ready for it, and then I'm ready for us to like talk about who's new on the team and
yes.
who can contribute to the team, moving forward. But Broncos country, just hold on with us. We understand that it's been very quiet and there's not a lot of going, so we just appreciate you all sticking with us. And I would just say after the draft, it's going to be a lot of fun.
It'll be fun going into training camp. Bo Nix going into year three, throwing to Jalen Waddle. The competition of who was going to be wide receiver three. We like to do the late post game.
So,
Fun. There's going to be a
yeah.
lot of discussion, a lot of fun discourse. So again, thanks again, Jazz, for joining us. Thank you, Broncos Country. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know who you feel like the Broncos will draft, which players they should look at, what position of need. We're curious to hear your guys' thoughts. This is what we do this for. We're all fans at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
remember, again, if it ain't about the Broncos, buck
Uh,
'em.
bye,
My hat
guys.
to you. Have a good one. Until next time.